What's going on, everyone? So if you see the camera shaking, it's my dog trying to eat the bottom of the camera stand. So anyway, describing objects. Now, one thing that we want to talk about when we describe objects is, well, I don't know, maybe to describe the object. So for example, you might get something from an area or a volume standpoint, and you have to solve problems regarding those objects. Now, packets that you normally would get would be, how would you describe, oh, I don't know, how about the iPad? So, you know, what objects would you describe or use to describe the iPad? Well, so if you give it a top-down representation, you would describe it as a rectangle. Now, if I gave you a representation that would be the side, please stop doing that, thank you. You would say that it was more of a rectangular prism, right? And then you would solve problems regarding that. And that could relate to anything with area, volume, maybe even surface area, or you could go as far as saying, you know, what is the thickness of the iPad when I give you a couple of different numbers. So one of the examples that I saw online that was really good was tennis balls in a can. So think about that for a second. If I have, so I don't know if you can see that. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Good job. Way to go. Okay. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is let's see if we can accurately represent the tennis balls in a can. So this is not a 3D representation. Okay. And there's usually 3 tennis balls in a can, but I drew that really stupidly. So what would you use to describe these objects? Now, for example, let's think that you were looking at it from a diagonal perspective. So say it was sitting on a counter. What would you say that the figures looked like? Well, you would say, I see 2 spheres and I see a cylinder. Now, if I gave you, let's say there was only 2 tennis balls in this can and they reached from the bottom of the can to the top, what if I told you that the diameter of the cylinder, or what if I said the radius, for example, the radius was, I don't know, 3.2 inches. Then you would have to calculate how tall the can was, right? So we can do that from a volume standpoint. Now, what if I told you that you were looking at the can of tennis balls from a top-down perspective? What would be the figures that you saw? And you would tell me I saw 2 circles and I saw a rectangle. Now, you can also calculate height, radius, anything that you needed to with regards to one particular instance. And I think that that was something that you would see on a test. Hint, hint, okay? So describing objects, really and truly, kind of a very high-level overview, and we'll do some problems more in class. All right, see you. Titan, stop eating that. It's no good.